between lines of troops, their heads bowed and rifles reversed for the short journey from Victoria.
Welcome back again to the channel. Today we are going to be checking out
The
the unknown
Unknown
warrior
Warrior
story,
Story,
the
the bands
band of
of
HM
HM
Royal
Royal Marine.
Marines. We are so excited for this one, but if you're new on the channel, please make sure you like, subscribe, and let's get right into today's reaction.
By the end of the Great War, the human cost meant that nearly every family from around the British Empire
1918.
had suffered losses.
Damn.
Many
Wow.
of the fallen remained unidentified, resting in war graves far from home.
What?
One man's
Damn.
determination to honor these brave men led to the story of the unknown warrior.
Whoa. 1918, that is like way before even the World War II
Yeah,
started.
way before the World War II. It's so funny how many wars are fought in the past.
Yeah. The unknown warrior.
1920.
Brought on to Africa.
In 1916, Reverend David Railton, while serving as an army chaplain on the Western Front, had seen a small wooden cross marking a grave with the words, "An unknown British soldier."
No name.
He later wrote, "How that grave caused me to think. I thought and thought, what can I do to ease the pain of father, mother, brother, sister, sweetheart, wife and friend?" Quietly and gradually there came out of the mist of thought this answer, clear and strong. Let this body, this symbol of him, be carried over the sea to his native land. After writing to the Dean of Westminster, Herbert Ryle, in 1920, he proposed that a British soldier known only to God be laid to rest in Westminster Abbey amongst the kings.
Oh.
This was to represent the many thousands that never returned. The proposal was met with enthusiasm, and so began the journey of bringing this unknown warrior back where he belonged. Back home.
Soldiers are the bedrock of every nation.
Yeah.
On the evening of the 7th of November 1920, the remains of 4 unidentified soldiers, one from each of the 4 main battlefields, were placed in the chapel at Saint-Paul-sur-Ternoise, near Arras in France. Brigadier Wyatt and Lieutenant Colonel Gell of the Directorate of Graves Registration and Inquiries entered the chapel alone. The 4 coffins were draped in Union flags and indistinguishable from each other. With eyes closed, Brigadier Wyatt rested his hand on one of the coffins. The selection of the unknown warrior was made. The coffin stayed at the chapel overnight, and on the afternoon of the 8th of November, it was transferred to the medieval castle within the ancient citadel at Boulogne. A Légion d'honneur en masse kept a vigil overnight.
Wow.
The following morning, the coffin was placed in a casket of oak timbers of trees from the grounds of Hampton Court Palace and placed onto a French military wagon. At 10:30 a.m., all the church bells of Boulogne tolled, and the mile-long procession, led by 1,000 local schoolchildren, escorted by a division of French troops, made a solemn march to the harbour.
There is no greater honor.
At the quayside, Marshal Foch saluted the casket before it was carried up the gangway of the British destroyer HMS Verdun. Just before noon, HMS Verdun slipped anchor and, with an escort of 6 battleships from the Atlantic Fleet, crossed the English Channel to Dover.
A soldier far from home, or he was still brought home.
Precious cargo arrived at Admiralty Pier, Dover, to a 19-gun salute fired from Dover Castle.
But you know what happened, right? When the Admiral he entered the place, there was 4 coffin,
Yeah.
and then he put his hand to select who the soldier.
No,
Yeah.
the thing that happened, right, was there were 4 unknown
Soldier.
British soldiers that actually, was unalived during the war. So what he did was this, right? They can only carry one. Like, it's more like when 4 candidates go to represent an international team, they can only use one. I don't know get where I'm coming from.
Yes.
This is the face of the unknown soldiers. Not
Oh.
they are using it as
Yeah,
a
they can't
memory.
bring.
Yeah, they
Oh.
can't carry all of them at once. So they just chose one, to give.
Represent,
Yeah,
as a
but that one
representation.
represents the whole.
It was placed in utility van number 132, and at 5:50 p.m. on the 10th of November, it began its 3-hour train journey to Victoria Station.
I'm actually still surprised that they were able to get cameras back as far as well.
That's why it's black and white. No colors.
London Victoria Station.
Arriving at platform 8 at 8:32 p.m. and now regarded as a national symbol, the representative of the thousands who made the ultimate sacrifice, the
It's a
unknown warrior,
representative.
was greeted by a guard of honor and a large, silently respectful crowd. A plaque marks the site, and every year on the 10th of November, a small remembrance service organized by the Western Front Association takes place between platforms 8 and 9 to honor and pay respects to this most significant of arrivals. It remained there overnight under escort until interment at Westminster Abbey the following day.
You see, these are the kind of things that when a country does it right, it bolsters a lot of soldiers
Yeah,
that,
courageous ones.
yeah, they'll be willing to actually give their life for their nation
And
because they know that the nation will remember them.
I hope this remembrance is still going on until today.
I think it should be because they say 10th of every
10th
10th
of
of November.
November.
So it should be. They can't forget them.
Yeah.
Never.
The sacrifice is so much
Mm,
to be forgotten
It's
like
huge.
On the morning of the 11th of November, the coffin was placed on a gun carriage drawn by 6 black horses from the Royal Horse Artillery. Huge crowds had gathered as the carriage travelled between lines of troops, their heads bowed and rifles reversed for the short journey from Victoria Station to Westminster Abbey.
I'm just excited for the amount of crowd that came out.
It's emotional.
Yeah. They acknowledged the sacrifice they made. While the enemies were coming, they did not retreat, they did not surrender. They stood their ground and they fought for the nation.
Thousands came to pay their respects, lining the route as the carriage drew past, heading towards the Cenotaph, a hugely symbolic national shrine commemorating the 1.1 million British and Empire dead of the First World War, and
Wow.
celebrating its centennial year. Representing an empty tomb, it immediately caught the public imagination, becoming a powerful focus for the grief of a nation and to honor the fallen, the glorious dead. Over 1 million people
glorious
visited in the
dead.
first week, and as Big Ben chimed 11 o'clock, a 2-minute silence fell throughout the capital, throughout the land, across the empire and on the seas, before the cenotaph was unveiled after the haunting notes of the last post rang out.
If I ever come to this world again, I just want to be a soldier.
This is so touching.
So,
Centenary and defeat. 1911.
first Night
The Great War. The war lasted for 4 years.
After the unveiling, the king placed his wreath of red roses
not just
and
soldiers
bay
that gave
leaves
their
on
life.
the
There was
coffin.
something they call, I think,
His
the band
card
unit,
read,
those that drum,
"In proud memory
war
of those
drums.
warriors who died unknown in the Great War, unknown and yet well known, as dying,
Yeah.
and behold, they live." The cortege, comprising the escorting pallbearers and followed by the king, the royal family and ministers of state, continued to Westminster Abbey. Arriving at the north door of the Abbey, it was flanked by a guard of honor of 100 recipients of the nation's highest military honor, the Victoria Cross.
As a sign of total respect, people
Yeah.
carrying the coffee, they remove their hats.
The congregation settled and the choir sang. 100 women selected from the 15,000 who had lost a husband and one or more sons, bereft with emotion, took their place, and as the dean began to conduct the service, cries of mourning echoed around the abbey. The procession made its way to the grave, carefully removing the wreath.
And you know, at that point when the bodies were being brought to the country, they actually thought, okay, there is this light hope
That they may come back.
yeah, not knowing they are unalived.
Arms and helmet and the Union flag,
My heart sank
and
when I
lowered the
heard
coffin into the grave.
there were 15,000 people
After the
that
Lord's
lost
Prayer,
their
the
loved
hymn
ones.
"Abide with Me,"
They actually
was
mentioned
sung with
100,000,
spirit and
but they say
heartfelt
15,000 was
emotion
allowed
as the burial
inside
service
the
came to a
congregation.
close.
100 women.
Servicemen from the armed forces stood guard as tens of thousands of mourners on a scale never seen before filed silently past the unknown warrior to pay their respects.
This is a great loss to mankind.
The identity of the unknown warrior will rightly never be known. He represents the son of every mother, the husband of every wife, the brother of every sister, killed in the Great War and every war. Those whose loved ones were amongst the unknown know that in this tomb there is resting the body of their beloved, and with it brings the hope and joy of many thousands, knowing that this body, this symbol of him, will always be remembered then, now, and forevermore, as the unknown warrior is finally home.
It's finally home.
Wow.
I'm so glad that they actually brought him home, and they didn't let them.
Their memories fade away.
Yeah, they did everything possible to make sure that, in as much as they don't know which of the soldier is in that coffin, but they make sure that every mother, every daughter, every child felt that their loved one is being put to rest
In a honorable
in
way.
an honorable way. So I am really grateful to the British Royal. Um, I don't know what they call them, but
Royal Marines.
yeah, I am really grateful to you guys because many don't talk about the sacrifices you all make, but I know, and you should know that we'll forever remember you, regardless. This was an emotional video. You can see she broke down
And I think it all started from the very first man that felt like there was a need for these British soldiers,
to be
even
recognized.
without names, to be recognized in the country, like their memorial and remembrance should be, lit up. And from there, they took up the whole
Initiative.
yeah, and it
It's
was
it's such
done
a beautiful
honorably.
perform. Yeah, it's such a beautiful
The
ceremony.
soldiers themselves will be proud of whatever the cause they were fighting for was
I
done,
think I think that would
because
be
the
the
cause,
proudest day for any
yeah,
soldier in the world, knowing that even if you died out there and nobody knows your name, you will be remembered.
it's a lot. Let us know what you think about this one down below. Please don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel. Feel free to leave your request. I will see you guys on our next one. Bye, guys.